Prairie Pipe Band Association was established in 1969. It initially consisted of three branches: Alberta, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. In 1992, these branches became distinct associations, and the Prairie Pipe Band Association of Manitoba, as it is now called, has been led by Ian Aastrom for the past 3 years. Aastrom started drumming in Penticton, British Columbia in 1995 as an Army cadet. The City of Penticton Pipe Band introduced him to the broader pipe band community. He was a percussionist and saxophone player in community, concert, and jazz bands, as well as singing in the town's choir and two musicals. He was accepted to the School of Music at the University of Victoria in 2001, and there he became involved with the Castle Carey Pipe Band and Maple Ridge Pipe Band, while teaching in Victoria with the Canadian Scottish Regiment Army Cadet Band. At university, he studied music education and spent several summers in Vernon, British Columbia, teaching pipe band drumming in the Army Cadet program. In 2005, Aastrom moved to Winnipeg for the University of Manitoba's School of Music. He joined Transcona District and then 2 seasons with Winnipeg Celtic and Grade 2 City of Regina. He joined the Prairie Pipe Band Association of Manitoba's Board of Directors in 2005 and soon received accreditation as a pipe band drumming judge. After a 3-year break, he returned to pipe bands in 2017, and in 2020 he was elected vice president of the association. He became president in 2022. While the Prairie Pipe Band Association of Manitoba is relatively small, it is integral to the large province's piping and drumming community, which dates back more than 150 years to when hundreds of thousands of Scots immigrants settled in Western Canada. As part of our continuing Association Leadership Spotlight series, we caught up with Prairie Pipe Band Association of Manitoba President Ian Aastrom to learn more about his organization. It's Pipes Drums, and it's April 2025, and we are really pleased to be continuing our Spotlight series with association leaders with Ian Aastrom. He's the president of the Prairie Pipe Band Association of Manitoba, and thank you very much, Ian. Really appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure. It's a real treat to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, it's Manitoba, right, kind of a little bit west, maybe more central west Canada, but quite rural, vast province. What is the latest with the Prairie Pipe Band Association of Manitoba?
The Prairie Pipe Band Association of Manitoba is right now in full swing of a rebuild. Coming out of the pandemic, we've lost a couple of bands. Membership was quite low, and we've really taken a strong hand in rejuvenating the interest in piping and drumming, but not just competitively, which is obviously a big part of what we do, but outreach to other pipe bands in the community that are focused on performance, so that we can offer them something, whether it's through workshops or events and things like that, and grow our membership and grow our community, because we feel in terms of sustainability in the long term that if we don't do that, we're going to run into jeopardy of not having an association. And so since the pandemic, we've done a pretty good job of running some events, building up some chatter, and this year, as many probably have seen, with the Manitoba Scottish Festival, which is the first event that we ran as our own indoor contest, and it really created a lot of excitement and buzz, which is really positive.
Yeah, it looked like it was quite a successful event and comprehensive event with offering all events, all grades that are practical for the area. Is that something you see as more associations doing, having to put on their own events that aren't necessarily dependent on sponsors and other organizations, licensing kind of a turnkey piping and drumming competition?
It's hard to speak for a lot of us. I think for a rural, independent, relatively isolated environment like we're in, yes, it is, because it is sustainable, but in the sense of, like, we recognize here a limited human resource in terms of putting on events. We did enjoy a time when there was lots of committees and lots of volunteers and lots of enthusiasm for putting events on. We had a very robust circuit here 20 years ago. Many of those people have gone away, and I think that's common in a lot of places in conversations. And so for the association to, maximize the resources that it has available to it, doing our own event, but doing it very well, is something that is very easy to do. It at first seems very daunting. I will say that when you start planning logistics and all these things and money, because there is money that goes into putting one of these things on, when you can get past all of that, yes, it is very realistic, and having people to talk to, like we have neighbors to the west of us in Saskatchewan. I've leaned on Ian and Barb McDonald a fair bit to bounce ideas and realize that some of these things are very doable.
Yeah, interesting. And so on that note, what are some of the objectives that you have? You've talked about rebuilding after the pandemic. Obviously, that sounds like an objective that you're seems to be on the right track. But are there some other things that you and your team have for the PPBAM?
Yeah, we so I took over as president in 2022, in the fall of 2022. And that first year that I was there, I really had to take a time to get a feel of where we were at, and even get a feel for the group that I was working with, because a lot of them were new faces. I didn't know them because I'd spent some time away from pipe band altogether, and through work, I had just been through a business planning course, and I was involved in planning at my work, looking at long-term 3-year plans. And I sat down with this organization and I said, I think we need a business plan. I think we need to chart out where we want to go, and how we want to get there. But I also recognize that I just had the idea, but I didn't have any experience doing that. And at that time, my wife, who's now our vice president at PBAM, does have a business background. Has done boards, has lots of experience that she brought to the table. And we created a business plan for the next 3 years that's focused around retention and growth, financial sustainability, because we didn't have a lot of money to work with, because we want to work towards something that we remembered from the old days. When we had Marlene and her team in the early 2000s that led our organization, it was great, and that's the standard that I want to get back to. So that in terms of objectives, it's delivering on our business plan and getting the organization back to what it was 20 plus years ago.
So specific objectives in that business plan, what might those be? Do a few come to mind? It sounds like creating the
Yeah.
business plan was an objective, but which you've
Yeah.
realized. But what more is there?
So in that was rationalizing our expenses. So we had to look at how much money we were spending and make decisions on what stayed and what went. Also with that is like what was going to make pipe band attractive. So we're going to have to invest in some marketing. We're going to have to make this something that people wanted to be a part of. And at the same time, looking at our current membership and what's going to keep them interested. So that's where we had our workshop that led up to the Manitoba Scottish Festival. We brought our adjudicators in and said, like, our membership want the opportunity to learn. Hearing from me or hearing from some of the other instructors in the area, that can get old very quickly, but to hear a fresh voice and to create some buzz and excitement, that's going to help people stay interested over the long term. And I think, even though we've only done it once at this point, if we can sustain that, we're going to start to realize some of these objectives, in the long term.